Yes, Kirtana.
A very good A very good evening to one and all gathered here. I am Kirtana Tambaraj from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, here to host today's motivational talk on how to manage emotions in difficult times, organized by Department of ECE, St. Joseph Institute of Technology. I would like to extend my first and foremost gratitude to Mr. Santosh Joshi, life transformation coach, author, speaker, mentor, founder of Sky Healing. A big thanks for accepting our invitation and joining us to share your skills and experience. We are extremely delighted and grateful to have you here, sir. My most sincere thanks to our chairman, Dr. B. Babu Manoharan sir, our managing director, Mrs. S. Jessipriya ma'am, director, Mr. B. Sashishekar sir, and our respected principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran sir, for providing us this wonderful opportunity. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our head of department, Dr. C. Nyana Kausalya ma'am, staff and student affairs, and Dr. G. Rohini ma'am, head of department, lab affairs, for their endless support. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome the students gathered here for the session. It gives me immense joy to welcome you all to make this event a grand success. At this moment, I would like to take the pride to introduce today's guest. Mr. Santosh Joshi is a new age mentor, life transformation coach, and past life regression therapist based in Mumbai. A mechanical engineer by education, Mr. Santosh worked with Indian and international conglomerates for over 17 years before he realized his true calling. He decided to dedicate his life to bring about positive changes and radical evolution in people as a mentor and counselor. With a background of his experience in the corporate world, he did a deep study of human behavioral patterns and responses to various emotional challenges. After years of experiences in meditation, self healing, and research, Mr. Santosh developed a new age healing technique that can be done in just 12 minutes and named it Sky. He was also invited by Indian Army to conduct the workshops for some of their units. After experiencing the positive effects, they have made Sky as a part of their morning drill. He was also invited by the Prime Minister's office in Dubai to conduct a workshop. At present, he is a member in Board of Studies for Emotional Intelligence and Life Coaching Programs of Master My Life Education in partnership with the University of Mumbai's Garware Institute. He is mentoring the future life coaches under this program. Mr. Santosh offers an annual mentoring and life coaching program to people who wish to take a quantum leap in all aspects of their life. Now, before moving on to the session, a few instructions to the participants present here today. I request everyone to stay muted throughout the session. Kindly type your queries in the chat box, which will be answered by the end of the session. The feedback link will be posted in the chat box at the end of the session, and all the participants are requested to fill it. I now humbly invite our speaker to begin the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this wonderful introduction. And I would want to thank St. Joseph's Institute of Technology and your group of institutions for inviting me. Thanks to Dr. B. Babu Manoharan, the chairman, Mrs. S. Jessipriya, the managing director, Mr. B. Shashi Sekhar, the director, Mr. Ravichandran, the principal, and Dr. Gnana Kausalya and Dr. G. Rohini for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Senthil, for calling me and inviting me here for this talk. I was told that I have to speak only in English because I don't know Tamil. That's how it will be, Tamil Teriyada. But I wish, I hope that this talk, for whoever is present here, I hope this becomes a life-changing talk. Thank you so much again for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. Uh, Difficult times. We have all experienced this from time to time in our life, especially in last 1.5 years when we have seen the COVID waves. And last year when it began, nobody even imagined that it's going to be so big. When we went through the whole lockdown period, we all went through ups and downs of emotionally, financially, people losing their jobs, people kind of having great difficulties managing their houses. And then we all thought that things are going to be okay by the end of the last year and beginning of this year, before the second wave struck us again. And as we all know, it was kind of much more severe than the first one, and we had losses of life. So people have lost their loved ones. People lost, probably everything they have had in last 3 4 months or 5 months time. Yes, of course, it's like a tsunami. It's like probably the most difficult time anybody would have uh, gone through. And we have heard stories about these kind of pandemics happening 100 years back, but nobody had, probably is, or hardly anybody is alive from those times. So we are the ones who are going to tell these stories. But the kind of emotions we go through when we are going through difficult times is, it's like a spiral we all go through. The first thing which comes out is the fear, right? The fear of what's going to happen, fear for life, fear for our health, fear for our loved ones, and then fear for future insecurity. What's going to happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow, next year, next month, or next year, right? Or whether I'll lose my job or I'll lose my loved one. Huge amount of fear, and this fear becomes the basis of our anxieties. We are so fearful that this anxiety creeps in. We become anxious, and somewhere we also have this feeling of victimhood. We become a victim to circumstances. We feel that we are victims of circumstances because we cannot do anything there. And because of being victim, we also become angry. And that anger then gives rise to a hell lot of things. Finally, we press the panic button. And because of the panic button, this cycle starts again. And we are actually going down the spiral. It's like a spiral pulling us down, down, down. But where do all these emotions come from? If we just take a look on all our emotions, they will be coming basically either, if you look at our timeline, when we see our timeline, we see that the past is something which has gone past back. It is not going to come back. The present, which we are living now, and the future, which is yet to come. So if we look at the timeline, the emotions which we carry from our past, things such as hurt, guilt, regrets, and anger, we are carrying that as a baggage, the baggage of emotions which we are carrying from the past. I'll give you an example. My dad, who has now, passed on 2 years back, he was 90. But he used to tell me a story that when he was, he was in just passed out of college. He had passed BCom in somewhere in 1940s. He and his friends, they were coming home, and he was, of course, he had uh, six brothers and sisters, but he was the kind of most favorite of his mom. So mom was waiting at home. When he came, my dad came home, and he just threw his books somewhere else, and just told my mom that, mom, I have passed BCom. Okay. And for mom, it was a very, for his mom, it was a very happy moment. She was so thrilled and happy that my son has passed BCom. That time it was very difficult to, even graduate. So she said that, okay, why don't you do one thing? You just get ready, and I'll make something special for you. I'll make something what you like eating, and as we'll celebrate, do a little celebration. But my father said he was in such a, a different kind of mood that day, that he said, no, 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 I'm not going to kind of have anything here. My friends are waiting, and I'm going to go out for dinner with my friends. And he just, without looking at mom, he went off, had dinner that night, came late in the night. By that time, probably his mom was already asleep. He doesn't know whether she had dinner that night or not. And he came home, and he didn't feel anything that day because he was at the top of his mood, very happy and stuff. And he slept like that. Many years later, when he used to tell me this story, mom, of course, his mom passed away a few years later. when he was doing his job before his marriage, he used to remember the same incident. And he always used to tell me that, I feel that that day I should not have gone out. I should have been there and should have been with my mom, because my mom was so happy to learn that I have passed BCom, and she was trying to express her happiness through, by making something for me. And I was so insensitive that I just went away without even realizing how bad she would feel. And he used to remember that incident. He would always feel guilty that he shouldn't have gone out that day. He should have been there, and have he should have spent time with his mom. That guilt was there with him till the time he died. We have so many such guilts, regrets, and anger. We call that as a baggage. And it's so difficult sometimes for us to leave that baggage, because we always keep on feeling that this it's a part of us. We start identifying ourselves with that baggage. And sometimes then it becomes very difficult for us to let go of that baggage. So what happens when you are carrying this kind of baggage of hurt, guilt, regrets, and angers? I'll tell you a story. There was one teacher, and this teacher was teaching happiness. It was a class of happiness, and he was teaching happiness to the students. So he asked the students, "Why don't you go out and ask everybody around you, your family members, your friends, ask them why they are not happy?" So that students, all of them, went to their homes, some to their neighborhoods, and asked people why are they not happy. So when they came back, everybody came back with a common answer. The answer was that all these people were not happy because they are either guilty, or they are feeling guilty, or having regrets, or having anger. So then the students ask, what if you are carrying this all this anger, guilt, and regret with you? Why you would not be happy? So the teacher gave them an exercise. Teacher said, next day morning, come to the school with a cloth bag. So all the students come to the school with a cloth bag. Now the teacher says that now what you have to do is, when you go back, every time you get angry, you have a feeling of regret or a feeling of guilt, you are going to put one potato in that bag, right? Condition is that you have to carry that bag every moment with you. You cannot put that bag down. So all the students went home, and they, every time they got angry, they had regret, they had guilt, they had, resentment. They started putting one potato each, in that bag. Slowly, what happened? The bag became so heavy that they were not even able to lift that bag, and they all became so kind of they I mean, the bag was so heavy that it was so difficult for them to even bring it, or take it anywhere. Next day morning, the teacher asked them what happened, why you have not brought the bag. So they all said that, what happened, this bag was so heavy, we couldn't carry it. So then teacher explained, just imagine all these things, these are potatoes, but similar things, you are carrying these emotions in your mind day in and day out. Every moment you are carrying these emotions in your mind. What's happened with that, right? You are what all these baggages or all these emotions do is they are pulling you back from your forward journey, right? Because they are pulling you back, you are always feeling that, the feeling of down low, or you are feeling depressed because all these emotions are pulling you down. Now why can't you leave or let go of these emotions? Another story. There was one little boy who was playing along with his mother. So mother was seeing something, and this little boy was playing, and there was an expensive vase. This little boy was playing with this vase, and after some time the boy said that, mom, I cannot take my hand from my vase. So mom was worried. Mom said, "Let me see," and she tried many ways, but the hand was not coming out, right? And mom obviously did not want to break that vase because it was an expensive vase and it was gifted to her by her mother. So she didn't want to break that vase. So in the evening, when the father came, mom said, "Look what our son has done. The hand is not coming out." So father tried everything. He put soap on his hand, he put oil on his hand, and tried everything possible, but the hand was not coming out of the vase. So father was completely exhausted, and he said, in that exhaustion, he said that, I will give 100 rupees to anyone who will tell me how this hand will come out. As soon as the boy heard 100 rupees, there was a clinging sound inside the vase, and the hand came out. So father was surprised. He said, "What happened? How was the hand inside? And why it was not coming out? You said it was so impossible to to take the hand out." So the boy said, there was a 5 rupee coin inside the vase, and I was trying to take that out, and I was holding it, right? So because I was holding it, the hand was not coming out. But now, when you said I will give 100 rupees to anyone who tells me how the hand comes out, I thought, let me let this 5 rupees go. I'm going to get 100 rupees. So I let that off, and that's when the hand came out. We start identifying like this with our emotions, with our guilt, anger, resentment, and the feeling of regrets. And because we identify, we don't want to let go. And this keeps on building inside us, and starts becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And a time comes when we feel that our life has completely become drudgery. We cannot move ahead in our life because of this. So this is one part of that timeline, the past we were talking about, right? Letting go. That's what I was talking about. Now coming to the future. The future, we are always, we have fear about our future, fears, insecurities. We are always uh, creating this future in our mind. So what is happening is that our mind is very, very, very good in imagination. So what we do is, of course, what we have not seen our future, but we are imagining things. So whatever we are fearful of, we imagine that in full color and full shape and size and everything. And that future we have already created in our mind. And that fearful future, when we are imagining, we get more fearful. We are we actually press the panic button. What actually we need to do about future, if we look at, we know the opposites, polarities, what we call them: good, bad, right, wrong, right? uh, uh, Light, darkness, all these are polarities. Okay, let's look at these two words, light and darkness. We think they are two different words, two opposite words. But what actually is darkness? If we look at closely, darkness is nothing but absence of light, right? So light is there or light is not there. We have named this situation where light is not there as darkness, right? Same happens with life and death. Death is nothing but absence of life, right? Same thing is with fear, right? Fear is nothing but absence of faith. Faith is there or faith is not there, right? If faith is not there, we call that situation as fear. So fear is nothing but absence of faith. What is this faith about? Faith is basically believing in your own abilities, your own capabilities, and faith in the universe, in the invisible force which is always guiding and protecting us, right? Faith in that. And there needs to be an unconditional faith. Unconditional faith. How does universe helps us? How does universe, is always there to help us, guide us, and protect us? I'll tell you a story about that. There was one little boy who had never traveled alone in a train. Okay, so every time he used to go by train, but his parents, his father used to be there. So one time he had to travel alone. Now he is very, very fearful because he has never traveled alone in a train. So he boards the train. His father is there to see him off, right? So when your father says that he's very, very scared, he says, I don't want to go and stuff. So his father said, don't worry, you will be all right. And there was one piece of paper that father puts in the son's pocket, and told him that whenever you feel fearful, whenever you feel that now you cannot handle this fear, just take out this paper and read it. So son says, okay. And he sits in the train starts. And when the train starts, there are several kinds of people around, many, many people there who are, who realize that child, the son, is alone. So obviously people make fun of this child, and they start, talking various things with the child. The child is very, very scared. He feels very scared at that point of time. And he doesn't know what to do, and the number of people are increasing around him. So he feels more and more scared. So he says, let me just go to the door and stand there, because he was feeling very uncomfortable there. So he went to the door. Even there he was feeling fearful, and it somehow it became unbearable. So suddenly he remembered that his father has put a piece of paper in his pocket. And his father had asked him that whenever you feel uncomfortable or fearful, and when you cannot handle it, just take this paper out and read it. So he takes the paper out and opens the paper and reads that paper. What's written on this paper is, father has written on this paper, I am in the next bogie, in the next compartment. Son suddenly starts feeling better. you know that's how the universe helps us as well. That's how we are never left alone. If you remember every incident from your uh, birth or childhood till now, you will realize that we have always been helped and guided and protected at every given moment of our life. What we need to have is just faith in this universal process, or what we call as the larger plan, because we are all a part of that larger plan. And once we have faith, we will never be feel left alone. But this faith has to be unconditional. Unconditional means what? Basically, we have conditions that I will have faith only when so and so happens, or our logic starts playing. We have a lot of logics or reasonings for having faith. There was one mountaineer who was climbing mountains. So he was going up the mountain one day, and he had to reach the peak. So he kept on climbing, climbing, climbing. Day has passed, and now the night has come. It's completely dark in the night. It's pitch dark, so he could not see anything. And it was so cold that the temperature would be -30, -35, or even lower, where even a human being would freeze and die. So very, very cold. And he kept on climbing up the mountain. Now, because it's dark, he could not see where he was stepping. He stepped on some gravel and he slipped, and then he started rolling down from there, down the mountain. A point came, there's something called as a cliff where the mountain is broken, right? So he came to the cliff, and at the cliff, he could hold onto a root of a tree. And as soon as he held on to the root of a tree, he was hanging there by that root. And he kept on hanging there for some time. He was calling people, help, please help me, if anybody is there, please help me, come and help me, I'm gonna die. And kept on crying, but nobody came, because it seemed to be a deserted place. So nobody came there, and he was he just shouted for some time, but there was no one. It seems that nobody was there to help him. Now he started talking to God. He says, oh God, I have been so I've shown so much faith on you, that all throughout my life. Now please come and help. So there was a voice from the sky, Akashwani, right? Voice from the sky. Son, I am there to help you. That's God is saying this, right? Son, I am there to help you. Let go of whatever you are holding on to. Now, this person, this mountaineer says that, people normally get hypothermia while, climbing mountains. Hypothermia means your brain shrinks because of the cold, extreme cold, and start becoming crazy. So he thought that I am becoming crazy because of this extreme cold. This is not my thought. How can, God ask me to leave the only one thing which I am holding on to, right? So again, this voice was there. He's told, he said, God, what's this? I mean, how can you tell me to leave what the only thing which I am holding on to? So again, the voice came that, son, I am there to help you. Let go of whatever you are holding on to. So this person thought, mountaineer, thought that he has gone completely crazy, and he decided not to let go of that only thing which he was holding on to. It was pitch dark, so he could not see down, he could not see anything, whatever where he is hanging. Now the scene changes. There's a small village. Morning, the next morning, small village, and the people are slowly coming out of their small, huts, little huts, and it has been extremely cold in the night. So people are slowly coming out, and what they see is that they, on, somewhere nearby on the road, there's a body hanging just a few feet above ground. So they all collect there and look at this body which was hanging just a few feet above ground. And they said, oh, if he had, left this root of the tree, he could have taken shelter at any of our places. Our faith is like that. Our faith is always conditional. So, idea is to have unconditional faith, because that is how we are always, once we know that, uh, we are always being guided and protected, that creates hope within us. And when, that hope helps us to outperform ourselves, even outperform. There was an experiment which was done with a small mouse. This mouse was, it could not swim, right? So the mouse was kept in a jar of water. So a mouse was swimming for say 10-20 minutes, and it would get exhausted, it will start drowning in that jar of water. So what was done was, they would pick the mouse up, just, wipe it with a cloth, let it dry, and then again put it inside water. Again, it would start drowning after 10-15 minutes. Take it out, wipe the mouse with cloth and let it dry. This happened for a few times. After a few times, when they put the mouse inside the water again, how long the mouse would have would have swam, how long it would go on. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Mouse swam for 60 hours. 60 hours. Why this happened? Because every time they did this, took the mouse out, and dried the mouse after every 10-15 minutes, whenever it was about to drown. That created a faith in mouse's little mind that if something happens to me, I am going to be taken out, I am going to be saved by someone. And that faith, that hope of being saved, made the mouse outperform its own original performance by multiple times, many times, right? That's the effect the hope has in our mind, right? So we have to understand that this faith and hope, these tools can actually help us go out of these times, because we are all going through difficult times, we are all going through uh, ups and downs in our life, and we are kind of go through emotional turmoil every time. Second thing we must do is, look at your internal dialogue, whatever you are talking to. From, we always keep on talking to ourselves. I am sure you all must be doing that as well, right? We keep on talking to ourselves. So what is your internal dialogue happening? We must also look at that, right? I'll give you a story. There was one lady called Margaret, and this lady, had an average life. She used to go to her office every day morning. She was staying in a small house with her mother, going to office every day, coming back, had an average life. So nobody kind of recognized her. Even in the office, nobody bothered whether she's there or not. And, day in and day out, doing the same old thing. Now, one day, she, realized that there's a new shop which has opened just next door. When she came out of her house, she realized there's a shop, new shop, which has opened. So curiosity, she had a curiosity, so she went to the shop, went inside and saw that this was a shop of hats, right? So there were few people who were trying hats there. So there was a small little girl with her mom who was trying various hats. There was another customer there, so she also went to a corner and she started trying various hats, looking at her, in a mirror. So one particular hat she liked, so much. She thought that she looked really wonderful in that hat. So as soon as she was wearing that hat, the small little girl also said, "Hey, mom, look, that lady looks so wonderful, so beautiful in that hat." This another customer also said, "Ma'am, you look very, beautiful in this hat. Why didn't you buy it?" So she was convinced that she would buy this hat. So she, went to the cash counter and paid for the hat, you know, and came out of the shop, and she was, kind of bubbling with confidence. She knew that she is looking wonderful that day, so she was bubbling with confidence. With that happiness, she actually, went very happily to the office. So as soon as he reached the office, the doorkeeper, who never used to notice Margaret, he, got up and said, "Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Margaret. How are you today?" So she said she was very happy that somebody who the doorkeeper noticed her. She went to the lift. There was somebody who already was there in the lift and asked which button to be pressed. So she was very happy. She went to the office. Everybody in the office was noticing her. "You are looking so wonderful, Margaret." Everyone said. They were all coming and talking to her. Her boss called her to his cabin, and he said, "Margaret, it's a long time we have not had this discussion on the salary raise. So why don't we, go for a lunch today, and we will talk about the salary raise this afternoon." So it was like a perfect day which was happening for her. Everybody was noticing her, and she was very, very happy and confident. So the whole day passed. She started, in the evening from the office, and she normally no taxi used to come for her. And that day, when she waved, two taxis came. So she took the first one, and happily she came home. When she came home, she rang the doorbell. Her mom opened the door, and mom said, "Wow, Margaret, you are looking so wonderful today. What happened? What's the difference?" So Margaret said, "No, nothing, mom. This morning, it's all because of this hat." So mom said, "Which hat? What hat you're talking about?" So suddenly Margaret realized there is no hat, right? And so she started thinking, she panicked and she started thinking where she must have left the hat. Was it in the car, in the taxi while coming back? Was it in the office? Where did she leave the hat? And while thinking, she realized that when she paid at the cash counter, she never took the hat, and the hat remained in the shop itself. So what happened? The whole day she was feeling, from inside, she was feeling that she is looking wonderful. And that inner dialogue, she kept on talking to her that she's beautiful, that she's looking wonderful that day. That inner dialogue was creating a big, impression on her face. She was looking confident. She was looking happy, right? And that's what was, people were noticing her because of that confidence. So it's very, very important to notice, or to watch what is your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself, right? Are you telling yourself that I am, my life is total mess? Are you telling yourself that it's, nothing is going to happen in my life, I'm a failure, I'm always going to fail? Or are you complaining in your life that every time I go somewhere, something bad happens, or some kind of complaint or the other? Or what is all these complaining or all this kind of dialogue doing inside you? It is creating an atmosphere inside you, which is making you uh, you know actually full of all these miserable thoughts, and you are actually manifesting those thoughts. When you are continuously thinking about these things, these belief becomes your belief system, and your beliefs manifest, right? So what is happening is that if you are having these kind of thoughts, they are creating your life according to those thoughts. If you're complaining about something, your life is slowly changing towards that thing which you're complaining about. So instead of that, try, if I'm sure you're going to try after this talk, try to see what kind of inner dialogue you are having with your own self. Tell yourself that I am going to be successful in whatever I do. Tell yourself that I am the best. Tell yourself that whatever happens, I am going to be successful, in this thing. And these kind of thoughts, they actually become affirmations. And when these affirmations you keep on repeating in your mind, they are creating a positive mindset, a positive impact in your life as well. And these affirmations are actually manifesting in your life, right? If you keep saying that I am the best, after some time, your DNA is changing as well, and you start becoming that way, whatever you are telling yourself, right? So keep on saying these things. So inner dialogue is very, very important for you, because what happens is that we are all uh, told that we are small, insignificant, powerless victims of circumstances, right? We are always told this, and because we are told this, we keep on thinking that nothing is in our hands. We are uh, kind of living a life which is completely full of these things, full of drudgery, right? Uh, we are actually something different. We are not what we have been thinking of, as what we have been believing about us. We are not what we think we are. We are probably much different than what we think we are. There was one farmer who, found an abandoned eagle's egg. There was an eagle's nest while he was farming. So in that nest, there was one eagle's egg in that nest, and so the egg was still warm. So the what the farmer did was, it brought the egg to its farm, and he had a poultry, right? So he had many eggs of hens there, right? So he just put that eagle's egg in among that hen's eggs as well, and everything became normal, right? After some time, the eggs hatched, and the baby eagle grew up along with the other chickens, right? There were other chickens, and the baby eagle was growing along with the other chickens. It pecked about the small whatever it was given to eat to the hens. The eagle was also doing that, scrabbling for grain, this, that, and it spent its whole life within that yard, farmer's poultry yard, and he never looked up. Because hens will always keep on looking down, right? So he would also keep on looking down. He never looked up. He rarely looked up, in fact, right? Whole life he spent there. When it was very old, that eagle, one day it lifted its head and saw above. And when he saw above, he saw a wonderful sight. He saw that an eagle was soaring high up in the sky, right? There was eagle, and he saw that this eagle was soaring high up in the sky and feeling very happy. And he saw that that's such a magnificent sight. And looking at it, the old creature sighed and said to itself, "If only I had been born an eagle," never realizing that he himself was an eagle. We all are like that. We all are something different than what we believe we are. We are much bigger, much greater than what we are told we are. So idea is that instead of believing what people tell you, instead of believing what you have, there are opinions of people about you. So instead of believing that, believe in your own self, believe in your own abilities, because you will know that there is a, enormous amount of capability and potential inside all of us. And we have to, think that we are something much bigger than that. Only then you can take your life to a different uh, dimension, right? So now coming to the present moment. So in present moment, we are all, completely stressed out. We are all, uh, we don't know how to go ahead in our life, because there are so many things which are always making you stressed, making you tense, making you feel that nothing is kind of possible in your life. So the idea is that whatever we are doing in the present moment, the idea is to follow your heart, follow your passion, because there's inside you, there is something, there is an inner voice which is always telling you what to do in your life. This inner voice is always telling you what you are best at, right? Instead of, we create a competition around us, and because we are competing with everybody else, we completely forget that we ourselves are competing with us. There's no one who is competing with us in life. There is no competition. It is you who is competing with you, right? We have to understand this. You must have heard the story of a turtle and a hare, right? There's a very famous story where there's a race between a turtle and a hare, and what happens? The turtle wins the race, right? You all know that, but we have never heard the other side of the story. The other side of the story of the hare who lost, right? So the somebody was asking the hare, why did you lose? What happened? Why did you kind of go and sleep? So the hare said, I did not get lazy and complacent. It's wrong story which is told to people. In fact, in anticipation of the race, the next day, I could not sleep the whole night. And the tortoise was telling everybody that he can walk miles without stopping, and life is a marathon. That's what this tortoise was telling everybody, that life is a marathon, so you have to, I can walk miles and miles and miles. So I could not sleep the whole night. So when the race started, obviously I was ahead, and the tortoise was behind me. Then I found a shady tree, and there was a nice rock near that shady tree which was covered with grass. So the whole atmosphere was so nice that it was as if conspiring me to sleep. So I went to sleep on that rock, and then I dreamt something, right? I dreamt that I was sitting on a drifting log in a beautiful stream of water on the shore. So when I was drifting in that water, on the shore there was one old man sitting there with a flowing beard, and this old man smiled at me and said, who are you? So the hare said, I am a hare, and I am running a race. So this old man said, why are you running a race? So hare said, to prove that I am the fastest. So the man said, why do you want to prove that you are the fastest? So the hare said, so that I can get the medal, which will give me status, which will give me money, and which will get me food. So the old man said, but there is already enough food around you. Look at these trees; they are laden with fruits, right? So you have enough food around you. So hare said, no, I always also want respect. I want to be remembered as the fastest hare who ever lived. So the old man asked him, do you know the name of the fastest deer, or the largest elephant, or the strongest lion who lived before you? So hare said, no, I don't remember. No, I don't know the name. So the old man said, today you have been challenged by a tortoise. Tomorrow you will be challenged by a snake or somebody else, or by a zebra. And will you keep running to prove that you are the fastest? So Hare thought for a while. I didn't think about that. I don't want to run a race all my life. So the old man said, then what do you want to do? So the hare said, I want to just sleep under a banyan tree. I want to hop over meadows near the hills and swim in the pond. So old man said, you can do all these things this very moment. Forget the race. You are here today. You will be gone tomorrow. And instantly I woke up. The hare said, I woke up from my sleep to see ducks happily swimming in water. So I jumped in as well. So ducks asked me, weren't you racing with the tortoise today? So the hare said, it's pointless. All I want to be is here and happy. Hopefully, someone will tell my story someday that I lost the race, but I got back my life. The idea is that if external validation, people's opinions about you, external validation is your only source of self-worth, then you will hunger for the rest of your life. So be what you are, follow your heart, follow your passion, and see how life will change around you, how you will know that what you want to do in life and what you are best at, and then give a go at it rather than what people say about you or people's opinions about you, right? Because what you are, only you will know your self-worth, only you will know how great you are, and you have to kind of focus on your own good things. You have to focus on whatever your uh, strengths uh, strengths are, and if possible, try to create an impact in people's lives, right? First of all, who is that person who will stop you from achieving greatness? There was one company whose CEO was very strict, okay, and this CEO often disciplined the workers for their mistakes or perceived lack of progress. He would always kind of keep on coming down on them all the time. So one day, as the employees came to the work, they saw a sign which was written on the door, that read that yesterday the person who was holding you back from succeeding in this company passed away. Please gather for a funeral service in the assembly hall. So everybody was shocked, right? They thought that this CEO who was tormenting them has passed away. So while the employees were saddened for the family of the CEO, they were also intrigued for the prospect of being able to move up in this company while and becoming more successful. So upon entering the this assembly hall where they were going to pay the respects or for the funeral, many employees were actually surprised to see the CEO there. He was in fact there. They were wondering that if the CEO is alive, then who has expired, who has passed on. So one by one, the employees they approached. There was a coffin kept there, and one by one, the employees approached the coffin and they looked inside to pay their respects. So when they looked inside, each one was very very surprised, and they didn't understand what they saw. Right inside the coffin, there was simply a mirror. So when each employee looked in to find out who has been holding them back from becoming successful, everyone saw themselves. And next to the mirror, there was a sign which said that the only person who is able to limit your growth is you. You are the only person who can influence your success. Your life changes when you break through your limiting beliefs and realize that you are in control of your own life, right? So idea is that the most influential relationship you can have is the relationship with yourself. You is the one who has been holding you back from living up to your true potential. Because in life, you cannot blame anyone else if you are not living up to your own potential, right? I'm sure you will agree with me. You can't let other people get you down about the mistakes you make or their negative perception of your efforts. You have to take personal responsibility of your work, and whether it is good or bad doesn't matter, and be proactive about making necessary adjustments. But the idea is that, are you creating an impact in your life? There was a teacher who used to teach a class. So this there was a boy, uh, you can call it Samir. So the Samir was in a wedding, and he saw this teacher, Mr. Sharma, uh, who was his teacher in high school, many years back. So Samir said to him, "Do you remember me?" So Mr. Sharma answered, "No, not really. I mean, who are you?" So Samir introduced himself. "I am from this class, many years back." Uh, he said, "I am a teacher now." Mr. Sharma said that, yeah, that's great thing. But what inspired you to become a teacher? So Samir said, you inspired me to become a teacher. I saw what an impact you had on me, and I realized that I want to create this impact with the students, on the students and teenagers. So Mr. Sharma asked, I don't remember what kind of impact did I have on you. So Samir said, I don't know whether you remember, but one day in between class, I stole a beautiful, expensive pocket watch from one of my friends. His name was Amir. So one of my classmates, and it was his mother's birthday gift to him. So when everybody came back from the recess, Amir told you and the whole class that somebody has stolen his watch. And I vividly remember you addressed the whole class that afternoon, asking that the watch should be returned back. And I was too embarrassed to face up and return the watch that day. So then you, Mr. Sharma, you locked the classroom. You bolted the classroom and then asked the whole class to line up. And you asked us to close our eyes. Then you went from pocket to pocket to pocket looking for the watch. So you came to my pocket and you found the watch, and you gently pulled it out. And after that, you didn't stop there. You continued till the end of the line. And you told us that it was okay for us to open the eyes, and you gave the watch back to Amir, right? On that day, you saved my soul. You actually saved my dignity. You never said anything about this to anyone, including me. And Samir actually had tears in his eyes. He went on to say, "This is what a teacher is." He said, "This is what a real educator is. This is what I want to do in my life." Right? So Mr. Sharma, listening attentively, says, "That's amazing. But truth to be told, I don't remember much of that incident." So Samir was very curious. He said, "But Mr. Sharma, you really don't remember the story? It was such a dramatic story. You now you heard my name also. I'm sure you remember that unique ritual of asking everybody to stand in a queue, and you caught me as a thief. You don't remember anything?" So Mr. Sharma said, "No, actually, I don't remember. I don't remember, anything." But Samir said, "Why not? It's a very dramatic story." So Mr. Sharma said that, "As I moved from pocket to pocket searching for the watch, my eyes were closed too." Now, this is the kind of impact which when we deal with people, we should have, right? If you were the teacher in the classroom, what you would have done? You would have acted a little differently than this. What you would have done? The idea is, whenever we meet people in our life, whatever stage of life we would be, now, of course, after the college, you will be going to start your own life in a larger way. Try to make sure whoever you meet in life, you create such an impact in that person's life that that person will remember you for much, many years ahead. Try to make that person better than this person was uh, before that person met you, right? And this impact, if we create in somebody's life, I think that is the best gift you can give to humanity, because this is something which basically tells you that we are here not only for our own lives, but we also have a responsibility to create a difference in the lives of others, in the lives of people around us, right? So the idea is, when I told about this timeline, heal or let go of your past, have faith for your future, and live the present in such a way that your life actually becomes a wonderful piece of work which you have created for yourself. And once that happens, then of course there is, all these emotional turmoils, what we are talking about, emotions during difficult times, whether difficult or not, it does not matter. You will always be at your best. You will always be, in the frame of mind where you can tackle any kinds of ups and downs in your life. And you will be in a much better position to look at your own life from a different perspective. We have all have a perspective about our life, so you will create that perspective about yourself so that you can lead a happy and successful life for yourself, right? So I'm giving you a couple of affirmations. If you want to write them down, you can repeat these affirmations as many times as you want. Okay. One affirmation you must repeat every day is, today is the happiest day of my life. If you want, you can write it down. Today is the happiest day of my life. Okay. Second affirmation is, I am successful in whatever I do, right? I am successful in whatever I do. Third affirmation is, I am surrounded by love from all sides. I'm surrounded by love from all sides. I am always divinely guided and protected. I am always divinely guided and protected. And the last affirmation you must say every day to yourself is, I am the best. If you are able to say these things to yourself, and if you want to repeat them as often as you want to, you will find your life becoming a different journey altogether, where is nothing, and I can give this to you in writing, I can guarantee you that if you follow these things, nothing can stop you from becoming successful in your life. Nothing can stop you from taking your life to that level where people would say, look where this guy has reached in life. The whole world will look up to you, and you will set an example for everyone around, right? So this is the message I wanted to give. I hope you will, you have kind of understood the message what I wanted to give, and I hope you will follow these things in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the motivating talk, sir. We have a question from the participant.
Yes.
The first, how can emotional intelligence help in my life?
See, we have to understand, uh, what is this? What are emotions? Emotions are not who you are. First, we have to understand this. Okay, emotions are something which you go through, but you are not emotion. So when you look at it yourself, or whatever situation you are going through, emotional ups and downs you're going through, just detach yourself and look at it from a different angle, from a different perspective, and you will find that you know these emotions are basically created because of our perspective towards life, right? Because of how we see things, as how we look at things. Because many times we might be thinking that this is how things look, and actually the things are probably different than what they seem they are. Let me tell you a story here. There was one a businessman who was very, very successful, and this businessman had a very beautiful house, and this house was so beautiful that everyone used to come and see that house. It was like a talk of the town. Very beautiful house. Okay, this businessman had three sons. So once the businessman had gone out for a meeting, official meeting, when he came back, he saw that the house is burning. Okay, the house is on fire, and everybody, there are crowd standing around that house, and everybody is looking at this house. The house is on fire. So he completely became sad that such a beautiful house he had, and he was completely broken down, and he started crying. How can this house be on fire? So when he was down and he was crying, his eldest son came running to him, and he told him that what happened when you went. There was one buyer who came to buy this house. So whatever price the house was, I told three times the price, and this buyer has already bought this house at three times the price of this house. So suddenly, when he heard this person now feels that the house is no more his. He doesn't own the house, so he is happy. A moment before that he was sad, so now he is happy, and he is just watching and enjoying the fire now because the house is already sold. After some time, the second son came running to him. He said that what happened. This guy, uh, you know, who had bought this house, he had paid only 50% of the amount, and he is not going to pay the balance 50% because now the house is burnt. So we are probably going to be in a loss because he's going to only pay 50%. So again, while he was enjoying the fire, he again became sad. In a moment again he became sad. So when he was sad, the youngest son came, and he said that I have just spoken to that person, and he is a person who is a person of his values. So this person has said, I have promised to pay you something. I will pay the complete amount, and I am not going to take away anything. Even if the house is burnt, doesn't matter, because the deal was struck before the house was burnt. So he said he is going to pay the full amount. So when he heard the third son, again this person, he was sad, he became happy. So the idea is that our emotions are like this, that it is a perception which keeps on changing our emotions, how we look at it. In a moment he was happy, then he was sad, he was happy, then sad, happy, sad, right? So look at all these things as a part, whatever you are going through, as a part of the larger plan, and we are all going to, our each challenge helps us to grow, helps us to gain wisdom. If you look at it from this perspective, then you will not have emotional turmoil or emotional turbulence in your
Thank you, sir. Now, moving on to the vote of thanks. On behalf of Department of ECE, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, once again, I would like to thank Mr. Santosh Joshi for taking out time from your busy schedule and for spreading so much positivity, especially which is the need of the hour, this pandemic. My most sincere gratitude to the Almighty for always showering us with His immense blessings. My heartfelt thanks to our beloved Chairman, Dr. B. Babu Manoharan Sir, Managing Director, Mrs. S. Jessipriya Ma'am, and our Director, Mr. B. Sasishekar Sir, for their guidance in conduction of this motivational talk. Also, I would like to express my gratitude to our Principal, Dr. P. Ravichandran Sir, for his support in conducting this talk, and my most sincere thanks to our Head of Department, Dr. C. Nyana Kausalya Ma'am, Staff and Student Affairs, and Dr. G. Rohini Ma'am, Lab Affairs, for their words of encouragement and guidance. I also would like to take this time to sincerely thank our department staffs and the organizing team for arranging this event successfully. Last but not the least, my sincere thanks to all the participants for your active participation and support. We truly hope that you took away something of value from this. Until we meet you next time, wear mask, sanitize, and stay safe. Kindly fill the feedback form. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Sendil,
yeah,
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful motivational talk for us.
Sendil recording.
okay. So, yeah, you can send me the recording whenever this happens. And
Oh,